Let's go for it here. So we're on article number 4 here. We gave it to our burned out group. Give us a little bit of a basic on what was being done. Boy, I wonder who the author of was on this thing.
So this was a study of 17 individuals. We didn't understand the exact recruitment method, but it did not appear to be a randomized control trial. And so we hadn't previously been familiar with the term single arm, but that's what we were thinking it was because it's more than a case study and it is not a randomized control.
Yes, this was a single arm kind of, what term did we use there? A single arm study, a pre-post design, taking people before and then taking them after. Was I actually doing research? Was I collecting data on them? Very much the case. Did I have an intervention? This would be called a pre-post kind of intervention design, where you do a lot of paired t-tests, looking at people before and after. I think this is sometimes done in the disciplines you guys are familiar with. And this was a single arm study because it was pre-post. What's the weakness of this? What if I told you this? What if I told you that I started running the study in September and I finished running the study in November?
You can't rule out other variables
Such as what? Why do I say September and November?
Seasonal allergies.
Seasonal allergies. I was watching the Rachel Maddow show last night, and she was saying she was sneezing all over the place. She developed allergies at that age, and she was like, this is just terrible. Because there could be, what would that be called? If the idea is, yeah, they got better, but this other variable, the time of year, what would you call that variable? Time of year. That's a confounding variable. It's a variable that could get in the way. We move on to study number 5. What's different about study number 5?
There's a control group in this one.
There's a control group in this one. So in that one, there wasn't one. This was my randomized control trial. There was a control group. So where would you put this at? And that one was actually published. Very simple journal. So what was going on here? There was a control group.
So we just went for the obvious and called it a randomized control trial.
It was a randomized control trial. There was one little problem, though. If I take a group of people with asthma and I put them in a control group, is there a problem with that ethically? Congratulations. Welcome to my asthma study. I'm not doing anything with you. How would I solve that problem?
So we had this in the study that was part of last year, so we made them as their own control. Because our first 3 people that got in the control group dropped out. So
You made them their own control?
they didn't do anything for 8 weeks. So we tested nothing for 8 weeks, retested, intervention for 8 weeks, and then test again.
So the way you normally deal with this problem, which is kind of similar to what you're describing, this was actually called, and I don't know if I used the term on here, a waitless control. It was a waitless control group. When they were done being the control, I measured them in August and then in November. How do you think they got? Do you think they got better? Do you think they got worse? Do you think they stayed the same, the control group?
Probably worse. They got nothing, you're saying.
Yeah, they basically stayed the same. How do you think people did when they went through the Brilliant Asthma Intervention Program? They got better, so that was statistically significant with that. And we even did a follow-up a couple months later and found out that they did better after, they were still doing well after a few months. So randomized waitless control avoids the problem of that confound and is more evidence-based. So we did get that published. It's actually the Association of Asthma Educator
By
Journal.
waitlist control, you mean they eventually got the intervention
Yes.
later after the study was over?
After-
They didn't ethically have to deal with, we withheld it from you just withheld it.
Yeah, for a period of time. And actually the numbers we report here, we actually ran this a whole bunch of times because in the studies we ran, we didn't have 20 people at a time. I don't know what kind of numbers I gave in here. 24 participants served in the control, 21 in the intervention. The 21 didn't all get run at once. We actually ran like 4 different intervention groups, so we only had 5 or 6 at each one. We ran our program. So a waitlist control is a good way to take care of that ethical dilemma of, congratulations, welcome to my study, you're not doing anything. Because that's not really ethical at all. So we got 4 and 5 there. Let's continue on with study number 6. Initial evaluation, diagnosis, and treatment of anorexia nervosa and bulimia. So we gave that.
We can't get in because my computer died and she can't get the internet to come up on hers, so we weren't able to see it. Sorry.
Okay. Let's move on to study number 7 then, just for a minute here. Oh, so you can't see this, so should I bring it up on the computer?
Yeah, well, she was trying to get it up, but the internet's not letting her in to get to it online. I had it on my C drive and now my computer's died. I knew that was going to happen.
Okay, well, that's okay. We can be flexible here. Where the heck is the page down? Oh, that wasn't it. Yeah, let's help them out here just a little bit. So, initial evaluation, diagnosis, and treatment of anorexia nervosa. So, eating disorders happen. We've got this, we've got that. And in the last 2 statements, we kind of have family-based treatment is helpful. We can do cognitive behavioral, kind of almost a meta-analysis type thing. They're kind of summarizing things for us here on what would be useful and how it could be helped. So they're trying to look at all the research out there and kind of say, here's what we have found. In a meta-analysis, they try to summarize what the research has said. Has there been probably a lot of published research on this? Yeah, meta-analysis is kind of the next level up where people go and look at all that and then they kind of summarize it, if that makes sense. Let's go on to number 7 here. Once again, sorry about this, my field as well. What did you guys come up with number 7?
We thought this was more of a clinical guideline.
Yeah, this is very much a clinical guidelines. What gave you some clues on that?
It said it organized it around a lit review and final guidelines. So
Oh, I kept those words in there?
yes.
Sorry about that, not on this one. Yeah, final up, it did keep it in there. But yeah, they got experts in the field. Notice how long the document is, 440 pages. They got all the experts, they have different sections. It's a big book, it's from 2007. So guidelines. Hopefully people who are writing guidelines know all the research going on. They've assessed it, they've looked at it. Different groups look at different things. Long-term outcomes, managing it, self-management, and so forth. This is guideline-based. So these are guideline-based, and healthcare professionals are supposed to use this. Article number 8 I wanted to go into just for a few minutes because it was one of the articles that was shared with you guys. I think it was shared with me as one of the articles used in a class here. Let's just kind of look at that for a second. So, hippotherapy as a way of doing things. So what are they doing in this article when you look at the results?
Can't see it.
Sorry about that. From a distance. Sorry.
Meta-analysis?
Yeah, this is kind of more of a meta-analysis. Here's what we found with all these studies. Here's what they had to say. We know that 77 studies were identified, 10 met the inclusion. There wasn't very much. They looked at these things. They found that it might be good. You need to have more research studies done, but generally they found some improvement. So this is kind of a meta-analysis. And then we go, I think I came up with this one as a last one. I had an asthma one originally. So virtual reality technology, Parkinson's disease, people familiar with Parkinson's? You guys work with any PD people? Yeah, my dad has very advanced Parkinson's disease. He's living in Hawaii with my 2 sisters live out there, and he's actually got a product that bypasses the stomach and is delivered right into the intestines and seems to work much more quickly. But this article was to look at things, look at are the articles out there, and this actually falls into a actually not a meta-analysis, but a Cochrane review. In a Cochrane review, not only do they summarize what's been found, but they critique and recommend future studies. So they say, here's all the things going on. There were only 8 trials. They found some things out there, but they weren't very good, low quality things. We need to do more studies in this particular realm. So we have all the different sides of, evidence-based. It can go all the way up from opinion to Cochrane reviews. We like to use evidence-based when you're running studies, randomized peer review. Single arms are good places to start, but you really need to do more than that to really have evidence-based. In OT and PT, not a lot of the stuff has all this kind of documentation, but it's certainly a direction that if you or your students want to do more things in these realms, we can work with you on those things and make that kind of stuff happen. Do you guys have any comments or questions for me here? Hello.
Is the network down in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Somebody blew it out.
We're just wrapping things, so good timing there.